Thanks, man. All right. Good morning. Grace to you, peace to you, welcome to you. It is good that we come together and share some joy. And that's the theme for this morning is joy and celebration. I have a feeling it's not going to be what you think it's going to be, but I'll talk about that later, okay? Welcome to all of you. And I call your attention to announcements. Please take a look at what's going on for our congregation, the different things that we're doing. Usually on the first Sunday of the month, we have our service down at North Mountain Brewery on Dunlap. And we're not doing that because it's Labor Day weekend, so we're moving it to the 8th. But then it will be regularly on the first Sunday of the month until it's not again. But I'll let you know. And the thing that we're talking about for that theme, it was asked that we speak about gun violence. And so we're going to explore the idea of gun violence together. And you're invited to be a part of that. We start at 4:30 for food and fellowship, and then 5:30 for devotion and discussion. And then also there's a blood drive coming. I just want you to be aware of that. So eat well and drink plenty of fluids and be ready to give blood. And that's not the church stewardship drive. It really is a blood drive, okay? And then after worship today is after party, a continuation of our discussion with the discernment workbooks. We hope that you can join us and be a part of that. And the 9 o'clock group was a very good discussion and great ideas that was coming from all of you. And we hope to continue that energy and revisit that again for after church for the after party. And then finally, Abbott has some announcements.
Good morning, everyone. So I have two announcements for you today. The first one is, if you please would remember when you go over to the other building for coffee chat to stop by our plug-in board, which is located in the parlor. It's got the sign-up sheets for things like being a greeter and being a liturgist, being a Sunday school teacher, and coffee chat. And you'll notice in your nuggets we have some dates that we really need coffee chat hosts. So we need everyone to everyone pitch in. And we can get those dates filled up. So remember to stop by the plug-in board on your way over to Coffee Chat. And the second thing I need you to stop by and do on your way over to Coffee Chat is to come to the Pick-a-Party board. This is a big week for Pick-a-Party. The host submission forms are due at the end of the week. They look like this. And we've gotten, I don't know, maybe about a dozen, I think. I didn't count this morning. I think we have about a dozen parties in, but the problem is we have a lot more parties out there that are just kind of in the ether but not official yet, and we need you guys to get that in so that we can get the catalog put together. The Pick-a-Party sign-up is coming. It's September 22nd. It's going to be a great day. There are so many good parties. There are some returning favorites that are coming back. There are some new parties that sound so exciting that every time we get a new party submission, we all sit around the office. We're like, look at this one. It's going to be great. But if you have a party that you have started planning or you're thinking about planning, or maybe you do want to just go ahead and jump in and do one, we need those forms in by the end of the week. So stop by and pick up one and fill it out. You can also fill it up online if you go to our website, shadrackucc.org/party, and you can find the host submission form there to do electronically. So those are the two things we need to do over in the other building. And I know we're going to go through church, and it's going to be really great and uplifting, and you're going to walk out and you're not going to remember it all, because that's what happens to me. So take the pen that's in front of you and write it on the front of your bulletin, plug in, pick a party, or write it on your hand, or write it on your forehead, or, well, don't do that because then you can't read it, but write it on your neighbor's forehead, and then you'll remember, okay? Thanks.
All right, thanks, Abbott. All right. And we extend a special welcome to those people who are visiting with us this morning. We hope that something is said, something is done, something is shared, that it gives you the word that you need to hear, whether it's a word of encouragement or a word of healing. And we are especially blessed. Reverend Dr. Barb Dora Peacock from the conference office is with us this morning. Welcome. And later on, when we do celebrations and the microphone gets passed around, you'll get to have a chance for the microphone if you want. All right? All right. Take a deep breath. use this breath to center ourselves. I don't know where you are in your own journey right now, but we have a thing that we say, that no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Blessings to you. Peace to you. And may joy be yours. I invite you to stand and let us sing together.
Standing for the call to worship. We are moved to awe and wonder at the grandeur, the poetry, the richness of natural beauty. It fills us with joy and thanksgiving. To wonder with heart and mind is worship of the truest kind. To watch from depths within one's soul enables love and joy to make us whole. It is time to voice our deep content. It is time to give our strong assent. The Spirit thrives in all that lives. The Spirit loves, the Spirit gives. Let us greet each other as a sign of the Spirit's joy.
Isn't that just the best? You get to say good morning to your whole family. It really starts the day off right. So this is a time we have celebrations because this morning's all about joy. We want to hear your joys, but we also want to hear if there are concerns that you'd like to have lift up to us at this time as well. Celebrate a birthday, an anniversary, a new bicycle, a tooth, you know, any of those things. We want to hear about it because this is your family. So we're going to start on this side. And if you have a celebration, please stand so the usher can come to you and bring you a microphone because we all want to hear. And then we will go across this way and we'll catch the choir. Okay. Do we have any celebrations this morning?
Good morning, Bert O'Neill. My joy is that this past week I got to babysit for my 4-month-old little great-grandson. I'm going to be doing that for the school year because his mommy is back to school to get her associate's degree. So God willing, I'll have the strength to keep up, especially when he starts crawling. And it really is a joy. As we all know, little babies are wonderful.
That is a joy to celebrate. Thank you.
And something else, this church has been my great joy for 5 years now. I'm just so joyful to be here with all these wonderful people.
Thank you. And you bring us great joy as you greet us outside. She's kind of one of our standard greeters, so. Sue and Joe.
Hi. Just to paraphrase Pastor Ken, sometimes I'm glad and sometimes I'm sad because we are officially empty nesters. And one other thing, I'm just going to ask for some prayers for my mother. She has reached her terminal phases, so we don't know how long. But she's pretty much unresponsive now.
Thank you, Sue. Nancy?
Good morning. Turn that down. There's been a few changes here, so I wanted to first recognize Liz for stepping up for the preschool and doing an amazing job. So thank you. And I know that Heidi is not here, but truly also to Heidi and Lois and Karen and Abbott and Ken and everyone who has picked up a lion's share of work during this. And then if I can quickly recognize new board members, or all board members. So Jim, who in true Shadow Rock history went and took a few days off, so we made him vice president. So Charlie, thank you. Is Linda here today? I haven't seen Linda. So Linda Merritt, Tim, Brian, Mike, well, staying to the choir, Kathy, John Pierce, is John? Oh, there's John. Mickey, Monet, and Sue.
And I will say we truly have a working board. Not only does the board meet once a month, the executive council meets once a month in addition to that. And this week, the executive council had an additional meeting. So do keep them in your thoughts and prayers. They work very hard on behalf of all of us. Allison?
Good morning. I just want to celebrate, and it's an ongoing event that I'm not certain everybody knows about, and it's called the Healing Circle, and it's led by our own Dr. Reverend Patricia Standall-Clark. And if you've not attended, you really should, because not only is it educational and you get information that could be helpful to you in your daily life to help you become more whole and wholesome, but there's also cutting-edge information. There were things on the microbiome research last night that has come a long way since I was first introduced to it through the birthing circle. But if you haven't attended, you really should. It's only once a month, and there are snacks and good fellowship, and you really should come give it a try.
Thank you. Karen?
Good morning. I wanted to celebrate the Celebration of Life memorial service that we had last night for Carolina Craverick Graham. It was a really wonderful time of people getting together and sharing their memories of Carolina, and it was really wonderful that Shadow Rock was able to provide hospitality and hold space for the grief of her family and friends and community. And it was, for me, a time when different circles of my life kind of came together and touched each other, because there were lots of Unitarians here, some of whom I have trained for OWL. So it was really an interesting and special night for people who loved Carolina. And then one of the people who were here took a tag from the OWL tree and is going to send me some good Our Whole Lives goodies, which starts today. So another celebration that for the first time, this new group of junior and senior high students will be gathering for 4 hours this afternoon to talk about anatomy and body image and all kinds of good stuff. So, thanks.
Barbara?
I don't know how many of you know this, but Miss Ayel Perez, who spoke last week, has to be at home every Tuesday afternoon from 12 to 5 and has to check in every Friday at an office down on Thomas. And he is always accompanied. So last Friday, I happened to go with him. Usually you sit and wait and wait and wait, and then he goes sit back, and 10 minutes later he's out and you're on your way. Well, I went last Friday, and he got called back right away. And then I sat and waited and waited and waited. It was probably 40 minutes that he was back there, and I was starting to think, is there a back door I don't know about? And when he came out, he announced his visits have been cut back from once a week to once a month. And that means he can work Friday afternoons.
Amelia?
Okay, I stood up last week announcing that Fletcher's is going to preschool. Well, he went last week. It's the first week, and it went amazingly. He just ran right in, didn't say goodbye, didn't let me say goodbye, but was very ready then to see me when he came out. So it was really good. It was really great, and I can't wait for him to go 2 days a week next week, because he only went 1 day. But anyway, very exciting.
And is there something else you'd like to say?
I guess I had a birthday yesterday. I turned 35, and I wanted basically to take a nap and be in bed and read and watch YouTube if I wanted to. And my parents graciously took my kids all day and took the older one, Claire, overnight. So I got to do that, and it was great. I took a very long nap, and it was wonderful.
Thank you. Ed, do you have a microphone?
Of course.
Okay.
Ed Van Brunt. Yesterday was my grandson Alec Wolf's 22nd birthday. He lives up in Vancouver, Canada, and he just boat captain on the taxis up there. So if you ever need a ride, that's who to look for.
Great, thank you. Barb?
Well, I'm here today to celebrate Shadow Rock UCC and your ministry among us in the Southwest Conference. I'm actually here for a meeting, but I know that it's sort of part of the whole process of discernment around your Wedgeblade, whatever your next Wedgeblade ministry is going to be. And I just bring greetings from the conference, and Bill Lyons, who is pumping his brain full of the Spanish language in Guatemala for this last month, and we're all kind of, by his texts and his emails, we're all, Liana and I and the rest of the staff are all sort of amazed at his progress, and we're busy with our dictionaries and trying to keep up with them, but no, I just wanted to say that when this congregation decides on a Wedgeblade ministry, it does become a model for other congregations in the Southwest Conference. So I think back on some that I wasn't aware of the dynamics of what a wedge blade ministry was, but as I look back on some of your priorities in the past, I know you've always sort of taken the lead in the conference when you decide on one, and so we're excited. I'm excited to see what your next focus is going to be, because I know it will speak to us in new ways. So thanks. It's good to be here today.
Thank you. Hubert?
Hi everyone, my name is Hubert. So I'll give you guys a quick update. I had the pleasure of going in front of an immigration judge on Friday, I believe, where I have to go back on October 25th. So that will make it 3 times in 6 months. Very exciting stuff.
Thank you. We all keep track of your progress. Choir. The choir? So there's no such thing as being an empty nester. Is that what you're saying? Okay, anyone else? Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol, and I had a cancer scare the last 3 or 4 weeks and stressed me out. Everything is fine, but I want to celebrate the people in this church that are always so supportive, and they just come alongside you and say, hey, whatever, we're here. So this is a great place.
Thank you. So that was nice. I can say you really are family to each other, and certainly to Carol and every single one of us. And it's meaningful. We appreciate it. And it's great to see so many here on Sunday morning. I know you have other choices. So Ken, did you want to introduce the staff?
We decided that introducing the board and also the transition with the preschool, we would also take this time to introduce the staff. We often assume that everybody knows everybody, but that's the wrong assumption. So I would invite the staff to stand that is present, please. Okay, and our staff includes Forrest, who is the director of our choir, Lois, who is the director of campus affairs. In other words, she is the keeper of all time and space for this group. Karen is our director of spiritual formation. Abbott is director of communications. And who else do we have? We have Julie, who, well, we know the band. What can we say about the band? All right? So we want to say hello. And to the staff, okay? And then let's not neglect the ushers. We always should thank our ushers and the people that work sound and video. There are many, many moving parts and many, many people doing many, many things. In addition to that, we also have security protocols, and we'll be talking more about that in the 2 months ahead. And Carol Shipman takes the lead on that, on safety and security. So, all of these pieces, and now we also, to go what Abbott had said, we're looking for you to look for a way to plug in as well. So, be a part of it, and thank you for all that you do, and let's sing our celebration song.
It's time in our service to enter a space of prayer. And we've gotten to this moment in a pretty joyful, upbeat way. But I prefer to take a path to joy that is not quite so facile and engage a Hebrew tradition of lament. And the Hebrew book of Lamentations teaches us that when we hunker down and get serious with God about all the things that are on our hearts that are between us and joy, God can bring us through on a path of joy. Please join me. In the Hebrew tradition of lament, we ask our God, how? Why? For these things we weep, O God. Our eyes flow with tears. Comforter is far from me. The enemy has prevailed. Our calls and cries for help are shut out. We are desolate. Our souls have bowed down within us. Oh God, our Mother Earth is on fire. Her lungs in the Amazon burn. Our neighbors are oppressed, their children taken from them and thrown in cages, denied even basic human touch and care. Our transgender brothers and sisters are being murdered for being their true selves. Corporations are people and profit from it, while people are diminished and discounted, cast aside as not worthy of even a place to call home or enough sustenance to survive. We have new idols in the form of high-capacity weapons that can kill and maim dozens in seconds. Our children are being murdered in their schools. Our teachers are now expected to know how to conduct active shooter drills with their students besides teaching them math. Our sister church in Tucson, Rincon, UCC, felt so deeply threatened in light of the incredible ministry that they engage in their community, that they canceled worship services today. They could not be together to celebrate each other the way that we are here today. Our peace warriors succumb to the overwhelming of it all and wallow in despair, sometimes seek a permanent ease of their pain. Our own health challenges confound and frustrate us. So many things still not spoken. How long, O God? To these questions, to this ache, God says, breathe. Even if only with sighs too deep for words. The path to joy through lament brings us to this answer. We call one thing to mind, and we have hope. The steadfast love of God never ends. It is new every morning. How great is God. Let us lift up our hearts. If only we can find joy in the beauty of each new morning. If only we can delight in the hummingbirds flitting, flower to flower. If only we then realize what a miracle a flower in Phoenix in August is. If only we can hear the laughter of children that makes us smile. If only we can remember how Jesus pointed out the birds and lilies of the field's lack of concern for tomorrow. If only we stop long enough to rejoice in the really important milestone for our brother Misael, that he can proceed with his asylum application. Rejoice! If only we can take great comfort in being together with each other, whom we love and by whom we are loved, then surely we can find the joy God intended for us. Then surely we lift our voices and hearts together and say, God is good. And the people say, all the time. And I say, all the time. God is good.
All the time.
Amen and blessed be.
Join me for the invitation to give, please. Let each of us find a window to see beyond our own enclosures. Let each of us find a door to open ourselves into new being. Let us each find a plate and a basket to give expression to our generosity.
morning. And so next Sunday, Labor Day weekend, next Sunday, Tim is going to bring us a word about life focused on spirituality and work. And Tim, aren't you retired? Yeah. What do you know about work? I'm just kidding. I know you work hard. I know you work hard in your retirement. Many of you do. So the word about life is Psalm 126. It is a short psalm I want to share with you. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with shouts of joy. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we rejoiced. Restore our fortunes, O Lord, like the watercourses in the Negeb. May those who sow in tears reap with shouts of joy. Those who go out to the fields weeping, bearing the seed for sowing, shall come home with shouts of joy, carrying their sheaves. Please pray with me. Spirit of life and love, bless what is said, bless what is heard. For there is not just one message given this morning, but as many messages as there are ears to hear. May we hear. May we listen. May you use these words to give us strength for the journey. Amen. I had an ongoing discussion with a man in the church I served in Millbury, Ohio. He insisted that joy and fun were the same thing. And I insisted that joy and fun were different. We never convinced each other of the rightness of our viewpoint. I think the strongest idea that the difference between fun and joy is the difference between kid joy and adult joy. And when I was a child, I thought like a child. I acted like a child. I looked at the world and I moved through the world like a child. But when I became an adult, I put childish ways behind me. And so I want to make a distinction between kid joy and adult joy. Adult joy is based on a couple of truths. First, suffering is universal. We all do it. We all have it. I have a secret. In terms of life, nobody gets out of here alive. We all die. Second assumption. Adults have a vision and a hope to make the life that we want. We take personal responsibility individually and then also communally as a group. We say, this is the life, this is the vision that we want, and we take responsibility and we move into it and we work through it, and it is joy that is the energy that makes the world we want possible. The third assumption. Adult joy is always happening during challenge and difficulty. In fact, joy may be our calling. And when we say at the end of the service, these are the times, we are the people, we are admitting that the times are challenging and can push us to despair. But we are the joyful people who stand in the midst of a suffering world. We are like the salt that keeps the meat from spoiling, and we are the light when the rest of our neighbors can only see darkness. Our calling is joy. But you see, joy is not fun. Fun is good. I like fun. We all like to have fun. Peg was telling Claire, our granddaughter, yesterday in the car, was saying to our granddaughter that she, Peg, and I should have more fun because we are very boring people. This sermon might be evidence to point to that. Yes, fun is good. We like fun. But it is not joy. Fun is a distraction from the way life is. Joy is the result of embracing the way life is. And life is transitory, life is brief, and life is full of loss. When I lay in bed and watch my wife sleep, I have joy to have so much beauty in my life. But I am also aware, acutely aware, that one day she or I will die, and the powerful, life-giving experience of these moments will be gone. You see, there's no connection between fun and dying, but there is a connection between dying and joy. The son of the man that I used to argue with in Millbury, Ohio, he used to go around saying, "We're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time." Because that apple did not fall far from that tree. And yet they were two of the saddest and angriest people I had ever met in my life. That despite all their surface attempts to have fun and be the funniest person in the room, both of these men were deeply wounded by a death in their family. The death of a child in this family meant the death of a son for one, and to the other it was the death of a brother. For them, they could not face the profound connection between dying and joy. All they could do was run and run and run and hide and distract themselves, supposedly with fun. You see, life is transitory and short. When we see this as one of the most profound truths that we share as human beings, then something happens between us. We make a deep human connection. And it pulls out of us, out of our depths. It pulls out a tenderness and an openness and a vulnerability and a joy, an adult joy. A missionary named Del Tar from South Dakota worked in West Africa for 14 years. Being from South Dakota, he was very familiar with sowing and planting and harvesting. However, these activities and seasons were very different experiences for him when he was in the sub-Sahara. What he witnessed was the abundance of October and November, where the family could sit down and have 2 meals a day, and they would go to bed, the children with their bellies full. But as the months go by and the grain becomes less and the number of meals and the size of the meals would shrink, by April they were living on broth and gruel made from tree bark and roots. Dr. Ter says, it is inevitable that a child will find a sack full of grain, run to tell his parents. The discovery for the child is like finding a treasure, and the child is certain that everyone will be able to fill their bellies again for that day, that they wouldn't have to go to sleep hungry. But the parents have to say no. No. The sack of grain is seed for planting when the rains come again in May so that they can have abundance again in October. And so the children then watch their parents take the seed and throw it on the ground in hope of a harvest time. And while the parents are throwing the seed on the ground, tears are streaming down their face because this handful of seed would guarantee that my child would not be hungry today. But I am sowing so they won't be hungry for tomorrow. They sow in tears, but they reap with joy. The writer of the psalm saw this happen in their world and thought, what a powerful metaphor for the way life is. That life and death, suffering and joy are not opposites, but they are intimately connected in what it means to be a human being and what it means to be a human community. But how is it that we can bear such a harsh reality? We can deny it. We can distract ourselves with fun activities. That is one very popular coping strategy. But it is a strategy that ultimately leaves us empty and ultimately leaves us bitter. The other strategy is to embrace this truth. To embrace the truth that it is a whole package. Find others who share this adult joy. And then bear one another's burdens. And then, even in the midst of loss, we celebrate the deep goodness of life. Amen. I invite you to stand and join me in the words for mission. Did you all want to move out here? Did you? No? Yeah? No? Eternal light, shine in our hearts. Eternal power, be our strength. Eternal wisdom, guide us as we serve you and the world. Eternal goodness, you have drawn us to your heart and united us in this fellowship called Shadow Rock.
Be sensitive and responsive to your current work in the midst of our history.
And finally, by your infinite spirit of life and love, grant us wisdom as we seek to perceive and respond to your call, your will for our spiritual home and our future together.
Help us to keep the needs of every member and of the greater community in our minds and hearts through every step of our discernment process.
In the spirit of the core values of inclusion, justice, and spirituality, we pray. These are the times.
We are the people.
All of creation is blessed.
May we love all and serve all.
God be with you.
And also with you.
Amen.